information is there. But one of the themes of these two talks, in the most general sense, was this isn't some bad dude. This is someone who is extremely competitive.
Stop using that word on Kenny Pickett. He wouldn't even compete with Russell Wilson. Get that shit out of here.
Confident, arguably to a fault, which is why I'll continue to point to Kenny's biggest mistake as being having given that one answer to that young reporter who asked if he could learn anything at all from Mason Rudolph running the offense, and he comes back with no.
Yeah, he fucked up there.
That's not healthy. That's not good. That has nothing to do with football. That has nothing to do with sports. That has everything to do with life. You always can learn. You always can improve. He blew it with that.
Right.
But overall, for the most part, if you go back over his life and football career, you'll see that trait served him well. That trait got him and the Pitt Panthers to an ACC championship, something a lot of people thought they'd never see. That trait got him to a starting job in the National Football League.
I like to remind people, that I actually love Pittsburgh. Not actually from there myself, but, I'm born and bred a Steeler. But I hate, that little point there as well, because I like to remind people that Steeler Nation is everywhere. So we can give two shits what Kenny Pickett did for the University of Pittsburgh. Only people that live in Pittsburgh care about what he did in college. Nobody else does. Just throwing that out there.
So now he's gone. Now he's playing somewhere else. Now there's new guys in. Everybody's really eager to turn the page, and I appreciate that as well. But you don't have to kick him on the way out of town. And here I go again with that Seattle nonsense. Both of these people with whom I spoke swore up, down, and sideways that Pickett absolutely did not refuse to suit up as an emergency quarterback in Seattle. And one of those was in the room for the whole thing.
Okay, just because, he didn't refuse to, doesn't mean he didn't bitch about it. Doesn't mean he didn't complain. Which I'm certain he did. Everybody knows that by now. And so stop trying to exempt him from that. Like no, he probably made sure they knew he felt some type of way about Mason still starting when he felt like he was perfectly fine to play.
And has absolutely no motive whatsoever to lie in either direction. So what happened? How did it become a thing? Well, if you go back to a week ago, that was when I ran a piece in the previous Friday Insider, this is again in print, that detailed exactly what happened in Seattle, according to this person in the room. Exactly, play by play, stuff nobody else had, nobody else still has. But then later, that same day, around 3 o'clock, the Steelers trade Pickett. And within 20 minutes, there's a tweet up from somebody who's been covering this team for a very long time. And the third item in that tweet, not the first one, not the second, but the third item chronologically in that tweet says, oh, by the way, Kenny refused to dress in Seattle. Now, whether it was taking a shot at the reporting that I had that morning, happens to me all the time, because it happens to everybody all the time, or whether this reporter had been fed something by the team after the Kenny trade was done to try to turn people against Kenny on his way out. And by the way, I'm not the one that's bringing this up. This came up in one of the talks yesterday. I have no idea. I can't know that. All I know is what the effect is. All I know is that somebody, for some reason, wanted Kenny to get trashed on his way out. This thing didn't happen. A lot of other stuff happened. It's plausible that it would have happened given his other behavior, but it didn't actually happen. And the result is he goes to Philadelphia. He's got the press conference. The Philly reporters ask him, hey, did you actually quit on your team? that weekend in Seattle, and he has to answer that, and he's going to have that cloud hanging over him forever. Why? Because somebody, either the reporter or the team or who the hell knows what, decided to kick him on the way out, decided it was easier to say this, to claim to report it, after he was officially with another team and therefore never having to be.
Like, I can't believe DK is actually trying to justify this. And I actually like DK's show, man. He's a great reporter. But I can't believe he's trying to justify this here. Like, come on, man. Kenny Pickett really complained at Russell Wilson coming. He obviously, man, I know y'all saw those interviews, those press conferences. Like, you can, if anybody knows how to read people, you saw Kenny Pickett, you can look at him and tell he was fucked up about the whole situation. He didn't, he was definitely not cool with being a backup. He felt like the team was his, like he had actually earned some shit, which he had at all. But that's a whole another story. But it's crazy for DK to be sitting here